I was thinking of maybe summarizing everything around like the concept of being a transformative leader, or a transformational leader, and kind of tying that together with like a lot of these practices help people do that. But you are the expert on the practices and the distinctions here, so I'm totally up to your guidance.
Well, I don't know about the expert. I feel like I'm always learning myself. In fact, that's I think part of a good um, uh, manager leader is that you are always learning, and my learning journey is lifelong. I don't ever think I feel like I have all the answers, and I certainly find myself being corrected uh, over and over again and learning more as I go along. So, but thank you for the compliment. So, transformative leadership. So, first of all, there's a couple things. Every company needs transformative leadership. It doesn't matter if it's a startup, which is pretty obvious, or a big company, because big companies need to reinvent themselves to survive. And everything in between is transformative, because as you're growing a startup, and particularly in a startup, the early stages, there's a lot of change that's happening in the early stages. As you're a bigger company, there's less change that's happening. When you go from 5 to 10 to 20 people, a lot of change happens. When you add another 10 people after you're 100 or 1,000 people, it's not a lot of change. But transformation is something that every company needs and every leader needs. So, how do you do that? Well, I mean, the way I look at it is transformation starts with ourselves. If you can't open up and learn and transform yourself, you're not going to be able to transform other people or your organization. So, doing the work yourself is almost the most important thing. It's kind of like put your mask on before, somebody else on the plane. Unless you take care of yourself, unless you do what you need for yourself, you're not going to be conscious or alive to help the other people on the plane. Now, that's obviously an extreme example, but but the point is that you need to look at yourself as, I need to be able to transform myself to transform others. And what does that take? Well, first it takes an open mindset and a growth mindset and a learning mindset. Like, hey, I don't know everything, and I want to learn and grow. So awareness, it's really awareness. And then the second thing is, it takes trying different things. Getting out of your comfort zone. Um, and being willing to do that over and over again. So practices. And then the third thing is then fully embodying that and getting something that lasts, so that it does actually become one of those habits and patterns that is almost unconscious, but in a good way. It's something that you've developed yourself that really is helpful. And it's the same thing for organizations. So you need to think about, like, how do you change the patterns and habits of the organization? Keep the ones that work, change the ones that don't. I mean, and then accept the ones you can't change sometimes. But that's really the way I think of it. And I don't think of it um, as a thing that it's like, okay, now we need to do transformation. I think of it as, it's an ongoing thing. I mean, transformation isn't just another way of saying change. Change has to go on all the time, as a leader, as an organization, as a company. And so it's, how do you keep that change happening productively? How do you transform things in a great way? And hopefully, transformation is talking about even bigger and better changes.
The takeaway that is resonating with me is the more you focus on your own growth and personal transformation and your ability to recognize your own patterns and your ability to change those patterns as it serves to better serve you, the more you'll be able to help support other people recognize their patterns and adjust them to better serve them and better serve the organization. I think that's great.